Mini trampolining, or rebounding, is an up-and-coming exercise modality. But what makes a good quality mini trampoline? I'm unboxing the Kensone 48-inch bungee cord rebounder. Let's dive in. Rebounding has a plethora of literature to support its effectiveness for exercise. Being joint-friendly, it can be an optimal solution for the older adult population or those experiencing joint conditions. I'll dive in deeper in another video on the actual scientific literature to support rebounding's effectiveness for improving balance and coordination, overall strength, improving symptoms in type 2 diabetics, those with Parkinson's disease, hypertension, and then simply weight management. But today, we're directing our attention to the Kensone mini trampoline. Now, I've tried my share of mini trampolines from Amazon.com. I've been impressed with some and disappointed with others. Kensone reached out to me specifically because they wanted me to review their 48-inch cord-based mini trampoline. I suspect they noticed that my mini trampoline in other videos had springs. So let me jump into my experience with it. First and foremost, it arrived promptly on time. They let me know when they intended it to arrive, and it literally arrived the day of, which is nice because it affirms that they deliver on their promise and that you don't just have to rely on something from Amazon to make sure it gets to you quickly. So A+ for the shipping. Immediately though, I did want to say overall, it was pretty heavy if you're thinking about an older adult who might not have the strength or mobility to be able to bend down and pick it up. Obviously, that's why we have training programs to help improve overall functionality and quality of life. But nevertheless, for some of my clients that have limited mobility or that are absolutely not accustomed to doing deadlifts of significant weight, I would strongly recommend that they have a second person to help them or somebody they know who is able-bodied. It was pretty heavy and awkward to carry. Not for me, but for other people it might be. A dolly would also be helpful. All in all, I thought that everything was pretty organized in the way that it fit in the box, and I'm very grateful that it came with an instruction manual, because I just put together a set of lawn chairs that didn't. The instructions do suggest a 2-person assembly, which I absolutely agree with. So for my clients out there interested in getting a rebounder for this specific brand and others, make sure you have a second person. It was okay to open for me alone, but obviously you're supposed to have a second person help. The problem came in when we had to input the safety pins. Now bear in mind, Kensone was kind enough to send me their 48-inch rebounder for free so that I could test it out for them. So it's possible that they sent me one from Overstock. I did have to hammer in the safety pins, and my husband had to kind of bend the frame a little bit just so that the holes could align. But all in all, it went in and it got done. Another hurdle was putting on the cords. At first glance, it seems like you have all the cords on there that you would need, but the instructions tell you to make sure that you fill up the entire trampoline with all of the bungee cords. However, you do get left with 2 extras, which sometimes when you get left with extra parts, you feel like you did something wrong. But I understand, obviously, with cords, they can break. So it's good to have a couple spares. One note for Kensone to improve is that they probably should recommend in the instruction manual that you put the cords on opposite sides as you go, because I noticed that it was stretching the frame a bit. Even though I would have wanted to do that personally, I decided, nope, follow the instructions exactly as they appear on the guide. There were a couple other things with the instructions in terms of timing of putting things on that didn't make much sense to me, but nevertheless, I followed them and it all got done. One issue I had, once again, it could be because it was a free trampoline that they sent me and maybe it was dented in some ways, but the actual frame and the safety bar was dented. And when I was trying to get it on, it took me quite a while to struggle through it. And I always think of my clients. Would my 65-year-old client who is not able-bodied and is not as strong, not to say that all 65-year-olds are the same way, I have a lot of very strong 65-year-olds and 70-year-olds and 80-year-olds, but my point is I'm trying to think of everybody in this situation, and I was really struggling to get the frame on, but it might have been because it was dented. Nevertheless, it never got on properly and the pins did not click into the holes. And then I noticed that there were some metal shavings that I got in my finger from it basically sloughing off as I was trying to get it into the holes, which made me feel like the safety bar was not that safe. Nevertheless, it's probably just that it was dented because it was from Overstock, because I also noted a botched paint job on the logo that, again, it could have just been because it was an Overstock item. All in all, it took me about 30 minutes to put it together with the assistance of my husband, who was also filming the B-roll, so he had to start and stop, so that's why he was not in the frame with me, but I promise I wasn't doing it alone. Now here's the silver lining with all this. While the assembly was a bit of a challenge, took some time, and had its problems, the experience of actually jumping on it felt so different from my spring-based rebounder. It feels really smooth, and there's no squeaking, which in filming, I can't stand, and neither can Josh. The bounce feels different too. With the spring, I feel a slight jolt, but with the cord-based, it's like you're sinking and rising at the same speed. It feels more fluid, which consequently may end up feeling better on your joints, especially for the individuals with joint conditions. So by the end of it, I absolutely prefer this 48-inch rebounder versus my spring-based one that I got on Amazon. In terms of price points, they're comparable to those you can find on Amazon as well. My only concern would be for individuals that keep this out in their garage or worse, outside. And that's not Kensone's fault whatsoever. That's just people. If you keep it outside or in your garage, you are going to risk dry rot because these cords are elastic-based, something that the outdoor trampolines that usually have springs are not going to have to worry about other than rust. So make sure if you're getting this Kensone cord-based or any cord-based mini trampoline, you're taking care of it. Keep it in a climate-controlled environment and ensure that you're checking the cords. Usually elastic or elastic resistance bands, I know, have a life cycle of 2 to 3 years, unless they're heavily used. Now, the last bit of feedback that I'd like to leave for Kensone, which would be awesome if they offered, and maybe they'll take this advice, and then when you visit their website, it'll be an offering. And it would be complimentary assembly for seniors. I have a lot of very able-bodied, strong seniors that I work with, but some of my seniors would have a really hard time trying to put this together, even if they had a second person. So who knows, maybe Kensone will consider offering complimentary assembly. I have included their information and a link to their products in the description of this video in case you'd like to check it out. Rebounding can be a very fun way to get strong, improve your balance, get a great cardiovascular workout, or even just to improve your circulation. If you're curious about how to get started with your fitness journey, I do have on-demand programs available, and in the future, unless you're already in the future and it's already there, I will be making mini trampoline-based programs for you to follow as part of my on-demand protocols. I hope this video has been helpful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I do take topic suggestions if you're curious about any fitness or health-related principles. And don't forget to share this video with all those who may benefit. That's all for this one. Always remember, your health is an investment, not an expense. I'll see you in the next one.